So a pile group consisting of 9 driven piles, each 0.4 meter in diameter, is arranged in a 3 by 3 matrix. It is spacing of 1.2 meter. The piles penetrate a medium clay soil whose properties are given as SU is 40 kilopascals, pi dash is 30 degree, gamma sat is 18 kilonewton per cubic meter, and over consolidation ratio is 2. So there is a medium clay soil of 8 meter thick, and the piles are embedded 2 meter in stiff clay. So the properties of stiff clay are SU is 90 kilopascal, pi dash is 28 degree, gamma sat is 18.5 kilonewton per cubic meter, and over consolidation ratio is given as 5. Calculate the group allowable load capacity for a factor of safety of 2. Groundwater level is at 2 meter below the surface but can rise to the surface due to seasonal changes. So this is the statement of the problem. So based on the given statement of the problem, so try to draw some schematic. Try to draw some schematic. So say pile group consisting of 9 number of piles, and all piles are penetrating into the two media. One is medium clay soil of 8 meter thick, followed by stiff clay and the piles are embedded whole through medium clay soil, that is 8 meter, but only 2 meter into the stiff clay. The properties of the soil are given. So you are asked to calculate the pile load capacity of a pile group. So in geotechnical engineering, one of the most important aspect is, if a statement of the problem is given, always try to convert the statement into some graphical representation. So what layer is above or below or embedded? So overlain or underlain. So try to understand all these terminology. So that is the most important. So here medium clay soil is on the top and the stiff clay is at the bottom. So draw a pile group picture such that there are two number of layers, 8 meter medium clay and stiff clay of some thickness, but into which only 2 meter up to a depth of 2 meter only the piles are embedded. So 9 number of piles arranged in 3 by 3 group. So at any given cross section or at any the elevation level, we can only see 3 piles, either in the x direction or in the y direction. We can only see 3 number of piles. Pile spacing is 1.2 meter. Okay, so this is the pictorial representation of the given sum. This is the pile group. There are 3 number of piles, 1, 2 and 3. The spacing between each pile is 1.2 meter. 1.2 meter, and as it is given that there is a medium clay of 8 meter thick, then followed by stiff clay, into which up to a depth of 2 meter the piles are embedded. So therefore, based on the given statement, we can understand that the total length of the pile is 10 meter. So the total length of each pile is 10 meter, that is 8 plus 2. And it is also said that the groundwater table exists at a depth of 2 meter from the ground surface. 2 meter from the ground surface. So accordingly, you should pay some kind of an attention whether do you need to take gamma D or gamma saturated when you calculate the effective stress or effective overburden pressure. So all the properties are given. First, the top layer is medium clay, for which the undrained shear strength is 40 kilopascals, gamma S is 18, pi dash is 30, OCR is 2. And followed by stiff clay, so whose undrained shear strength is 90, pi dash is 28, gamma S is 18.5, and over consolidation ratio is 5. So could anybody suggest me what method among alpha, beta and lambda or gamma shall be used for calculation of the skin friction for this problem? Anyone? Among alpha, beta and gamma method, which method shall be used for calculating the skin friction?
Beta.
Right. So since pi dash is given, over consolidation ratio has been given. So therefore the appropriate and right method to be used is beta method. So let's try to see how the beta method is used. So first of all, try to draw the plan diagram. So for better understanding of 9 number of piles, and you also need to calculate the length of the pile group and the width of the pile group. So try to draw this picture and try to calculate the length of the pile group and the width of the pile group. So the equation for calculating the length and width is n minus 1 into small d, that is spacing, plus capital D, that is diameter of the pile. So here, since this is a square pile group, so LG will be equal to BG. So therefore you need to calculate either LG or BG only. So number of piles in each direction are 3. So therefore 3 minus 1 into spacing is 1.2 plus diameter is 0.4. So when you simplify, and what you get is LG is equals to BG is equals to 2.8 meter. 2.8 meters. So this is the first step to be done when a pile group problem is given. The very first step is try to calculate the length of the pile group and the width of the pile group. Now the another important step in pile group capacity calculation is, so two school of thoughts. One is consider the entire pile as a block failure mode, or the second one is individual pile failure mode. So the first failure criterion is a block failure mode, and the second failure criterion is individual pile failure. So you need to calculate the pile group capacity for considering pile group as a block failure mode, and alternatively, so try to determine the pile capacity of the individual pile and multiply with the number of piles. So can I go to next slide? I go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
So first let us consider the block failure. So in case of the block failure, so as we know the equation, the pile group capacity QZ is nothing but summation of point capacity plus skin friction. So we have already understood what are the governing equations for calculating the pile capacity. For point bearing capacity, Cu NC into AP plus for skin friction capacity, it is summation of Pg into delta L into Cu. So there is nothing new. So this equation is very well known. All right. So now let us calculate the very first one, the point bearing capacity, treating pile group failing in a block failure mode. So QP is equal to CNC into AP. So since the undrained shear strength of the soil has been given, which is 90 kilopascals, so the cohesion is nothing but 90 by 2, that is 45 kilopascals. So since it is a clay and for deep foundation, NC can be taken as 9. Then since we are considering the block failure, so your cross sectional area is nothing but LG by BG. So LG by BG. So substitute everything. QP is equals to CP, that is 45 kilopascals, NC, that is 9, and AP, that is 7.84 square meter. So the point bearing capacity of pile group is comes out to be 3175.2 kilonewton. So since you are multiplying with the cross sectional area, so this is a load. So this is a load. Okay, so note down this one. So QP is equals to CU CNC into AP. Since for a medium clay, so here again uh, the big question is which value of the CU shall be used. So again I will repeat. So the CU, since you are calculating the pile point bearing capacity, the Cu corresponding to the soil layer where the tip of the pile is resting. So here the pile tip is resting in stiff clay. So therefore the strength corresponding to that layer only shall be used for the calculation of point bearing capacity. So I repeat again. So in a first step, when you calculate the point bearing capacity of a pile, so you have to pay a small attention in which soil layer the pile tip is resting. So in this given sum, the pile tip is resting in stiff clay, so whose undrained shear strength is 90 kilopascals. So based on this one, you try to calculate Cu value, that is 90 upon 2, so that is 45 kilopascals. Since you are dealing with the clayey soil, so for a deep foundation, we understood that the NC value is 9, and since you are considering the block failure, so you need to take the cross sectional area of the block, that is LG by BG. So the AP is equal to LG by BG. Okay, so I hope it is clear to everyone. So substitute all these values in the equation, then calculate the point bearing capacity of pile group considering as a point bearing group block failure. Now next step is how do you calculate the skin friction? How do you calculate the skin friction? That is the second component of the pile group equation. The second component of the pile group equation, that is skin friction. So the equation for skin friction is summation of Pg into delta L into Cu. Now here Pg is the perimeter of the block. Delta L is the thickness of the soil layer. So here there are two layers, that is L1 is 8 meter and L2 is 2 meter. L1 is medium clay. So the thickness of the medium clay is 8 meter, and L2 is stiff clay, into which though the thickness of the stiff clay we do not know, but the piles are embedded up to 2 meters depth only in stiff clay. So therefore L2 shall be considered as 2 meter. Now again Cu. So since you are dealing with the skin friction, you need to consider both the layers. Cu1 is 40 by 2 kilopascals, that is of the medium clay. Next Cu2 is 90 by 2, that is of stiff clay. So perimeter, so that is 2 times of Lg plus Bg, Lg plus Bg. So this is the perimeter of the block. So now I know perimeter of the block. There are two layers, L1 and L2. L1 is 8 meter, L2 is 2 meter. C also, Cu1 of medium clay is 20 kilopascals and Cu of stiff clay is 45 kilopascals. So therefore substitute into this equation and get the value of Qs. Get the value of Qs. So this is the equation. Pg, as I told, Pg is equal to 2 times of Lg plus Bg. So this comes out to be 11.2 meter. The perimeter of the pile group as a block is 11.2 meter. 11.2 meter. Next, Qs is equals to, there are two number of layers, 40 by 2 as I told. P, that is 11.2 into length is 8 meter. So this is for the layer 1. The first term is for the layer 1, that is of the medium clay, and the second term is for the layer 2. The second term is for the layer 2, that is stiff clay. That is stiff clay. So for layer 1, 11.2 is the perimeter, 8 is the length of the pile, and 40 by 2 is the Cu length. Similarly, for layer number 2, that is stiff clay, 11.2 is the perimeter, 2 is the pile length, and 90 by 2 is the undrained strength or the cohesion value. So substitute directly and calculate. So what you get Qs is 2800 kilonewton. 2800 kilonewton. So the next step is very simple. So the pile group capacity, treating the piles, it is failing as a block failure. So Qg is equals to Qp plus Qs. So Qp is calculated as 3175.2 kilonewton plus Qs is 2800 kilonewton. So summation of these two is 5975.2 kilonewton. 5975.2 kilonewton. So please note down. So when you calculate pile group treating block failure mode, it is quite simple. So the pile group capacity Qg is nothing but summation of point bearing capacity plus skin friction. The equation for the point bearing capacity is CMC into AP, and the equation for skin friction capacity is summation of Pg into delta L into Cu. So where Pg is the perimeter of the block, delta L is thickness of the corresponding clay layer, and Cu is the cohesion of the respective soil layer. So since the skin friction is something to do with the calculation over the entire length of the pile, so therefore each layer must be considered for the calculation. So any questions so far? Anybody unable to understand how to calculate this one? So let me try to inquire. So Vadapalli Kalyan, are you there? Vadapalli Kalyan. Ratnasaili.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So any question?
No, sir. No, sir.
So are you trying to calculate the skin friction considering as individual file?
Yes, sir. I will try, sir.
Yeah, everything is available.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tanusri?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. So did you calculate the skin friction by individual file considering as individual file failure mode?
Yes, I am calculating now.
Okay. Tanjib Ahmed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So any questions?
No, sir.
So are you trying to calculate or simply watching the video?
No, sir. I am calculating.
Yeah. So any progress on the file group capacity considering as individual file?
No, sir. I was noting the previous solutions.
Okay. Very good. Satish Kumar? Satish Kumar? Abdul Arshad? Sanket Santosh? Sweta?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So any progress on the next part of calculation?
Yes, sir. I'm doing that, sir. Calculating individual file capacity.
Very good. Please go ahead.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Sagar Singh Rathore?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any questions?
No, sir.
Yeah. Any progress on the second part of calculation?
Yes, sir. I am trying to.
Oh, you're trying. Okay. Okay. So the second part of the sum is, so then how do you calculate the pile group capacity considering individual pile failure mode? So the equations are known. The QGU is nothing but the pile group capacity is nothing but N1 multiplied by N2 multiplied by the pile capacity of an individual pile. So N1 means the number of piles in length direction. N2 means the number of piles in width direction. QG means the ultimate bearing capacity of an individual pile. So QG is nothing but again, so as we have seen, the summation of point bearing capacity plus skin friction of the individual pile. So if you substitute N1, so that is equals to 3 number of piles in length direction and 3 number of piles in width direction. So the equation for QP is the CNC into AP, CNC into AP. So there was no change. But when it comes to the skin friction equation, uh, when you consider the block failure mode, you did not take into account for the unit skin friction. But when you calculate the skin friction for an individual file, so you must take into account for the unit skin friction. So therefore, in case of the individual file, one of the important aspects that everyone should remember is how to calculate the skin friction. So here, to calculate the skin friction, as we were discussing about, so you can employ the beta method. You can employ the beta method. So PG is nothing but the perimeter and delta L is nothing but the thickness. So that is, again, L1 is 8 meter, L2 is 2 meter. So QP is straightforward calculation. Again, so the rule is that when you calculate the point bearing capacity, you must pay attention where the pile tip is resting. Is it resting in the stiff clay or the medium clay? So herein again, the pile tip is resting in stiff clay, for which the underend shear strength is 90 kilopascals. So from the underend shear strength, Cu can be calculated as Su by 2, that is 90 by 2, that is 45 kilopascals. So Nc is 9, so it is a fixed value. Then AP, so the cross-sectional area of the individual pile. AP is nothing but cross-sectional area of the individual pile. So this is a circular diameter, so therefore the area is pi by 4 into V square. Diameter of the pile is 0.4 square meter. So it comes out to be 0.12 square meter. 0.12 square meter. So up to this point you don't have any problem. Only particular attention to be paid is which value of the Cu to be picked up. So the rule is that for that layer where the pile tip is resting, that layer wherein the pile tip is resting, only that layer shall be considered to pick up the value of undrained cohesion or the cohesion value. So this is a rule that everyone must remember. So the QP comes out to be, so 45, that is Cu multiplied by 9 multiplied by 0.12. So 48.6 kilometer. 48.6 kilometer. So everyone please note down 48.6 kilometer. Okay, so can I go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
So the next step is, how do you calculate the skin friction? So using the beta method. So the equation is equation for Qs is summation of F into, so P into delta L. So if you look at the statement of the sum, there are two layers, medium clay and stiff clay. So therefore it is F1 into P1 into L1 plus F2 into P2 into L2. So F1 into P1 into L1 so this is for the first layer and this is for the second layer. So this is for the medium clay and this is for the stiff clay. So P1 is pi d, P1 and P2 both are same. P1 is pi d, so pi into 0.4, 1.2564 meter. Now L1 is 8 meter, L1 is 8 meter, L2 is 2 meter, so this is also straightforward. Now the most important point in beta method is the equation for unit skin friction is beta into sigma naught dash. So where beta is nothing but K into tan pi dash r into sigma naught dash. K into tan pi dash r into sigma naught dash. So pi dash is known and sigma naught dash you have to calculate. K value you have to calculate. K value you have to calculate. So just refer to these equations. So now as we understood that there are two number of layers. So the first layer is from 0 to 8 meter. So what is the value of unit skin friction for the first layer, that is medium clay? Now here medium clay, the over consolidation ratio has been given. So meaning thereby this medium clay is of over consolidated soil. Over consolidated soil. So accordingly the equation will change. So the equation for unit skin friction is K into tan pi dash into sigma naught. But since this is over consolidated clay, just refer to your handouts. Refer to handouts. The equation for K is 1 minus sin pi, and tan pi dash will become tan pi dash into square root of OCR, over consolidation ratio, multiplied by sigma naught dash. So for this layer, the OCR is 30. And the pi dash is 30 and over consolidation ratio is 2. Over consolidation ratio is 2. So next, everything is known now. Pi dash is known, OCR is known. The sigma naught dash you need to calculate. So sigma naught dash up to a depth of 8 meter is, since the groundwater table exists at a depth of 2 meter from the ground surface. So above 2 meter is the density of the soil is 18. So therefore 2 into 18 plus. So the remaining depth is 8 minus 2, that is 6 meter. 8 minus 2. So this is 6 meter. But this 6 meter is saturated soil because this is the below the groundwater table. So therefore the density will be taken as submerged density. That is 18 minus 10. 18 minus 10 into 6. 18 minus 10 into 6. So 2 into 18 is above the groundwater table. Then 18 minus 10 into 6 is below the groundwater table. Below the groundwater table. So therefore, if we calculate the initial effective overburden pressure up to a depth of 8 meter, comes out to be 84 kilopascals. 84 kilopascals. Now, if you recall the beta method, the sigma naught is nothing but the average effective overburden pressure. It is not the whole value. It is the average initial effective overburden pressure. So therefore, try to draw the earth pressure distribution diagram. So this is how it looks like. So up to a depth of 8 meter. So at the ground surface it is 0, and at a depth of 8 meter it is 84 kilopascals. 84 kilopascals. So therefore the average effective overburden pressure is nothing but 0 plus 84 by 2. 0 plus 84 by 2. And remaining all values are known. Pi dash is 30. So F average is nothing but 1 minus pi dash, 1 minus sin 30 into tan 30 into square root of over consolidation, that is square root of 2 into 0 plus 84 by 2. So substitute and calculate. So F average comes out to be 17.13. 17.13. Now for the remaining depth for the second layer, that is 8 to 10 meter. 8 to 10 meter. So F average is nothing but, here also the over consolidation ratio has been given, that is 5. So therefore same equation which is valid for the first layer is also valid for the second layer. So F average is 1 minus sin pi but here pi value is 28 into tan pi, that is tan 28, into square root of OCR, that is square root of 5, into sigma naught dash. So you need to calculate sigma naught dash afresh for the second layer, that is extending from 8 to 10 meter. 8 to 10 meter. So you try to calculate sigma naught dash at 10 meter. Sigma naught dash at 10 meter. So already we have calculated up to 8 meter. So that is 84. 84. And at a depth of 10 meter, so the density for the second layer is 18.5. 18.5. And you know that now the second layer is below the groundwater table. So therefore it is 18.5 minus 10 into the layer thickness is 2 meter. So therefore overall the initial effective overburden pressure at the pile tip is 101 kilopascal. 101 kilopascals. So I now know the equation for F average, that is 1 minus sine pi, that is 1 minus sine 28 into tan 28 into square root of 5 into, so we need to take average sigma naught dash, so that is average of 84 plus 101 by 2. 84 plus 101 by 2. 84 plus 101 by 2. So substitute, then straight away you will get F average, that is 58.32. So you have now calculated average unit skin friction for the layer 1 and for the layer 2. For the layer 1 and layer 2.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, why are we taking average sigma naught? But in the slide, it is just vertical effective stress.
In the slide means where?
So on page number 50, the slide which the PPT which you have sent.
Acha. There nothing is mentioned like it is average.
No, sir, it is not mentioned there.
Okay.
50, sir, 50.
Okay. Just, so beta is vertical effective stress. So maybe you need to correct now. So this is average vertical effective stress. Maybe it is my mistake only. So please make a small correction for this sigma naught dash. So this is average.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I now know F1 and F2. So straight away substitute in the QS equation. QS is F1 into P1 into L1 plus F2 into P2 into L2. So F1 is calculated as 17.13, P1 is 1.25 and L1 is 8 meter. Similarly, F2 we just now calculated as 58.32 and P2 is same 1.25 and length of the pile in the second layer is 2. So substitute and calculate. So what we get QS of individual pile is 317.1 kilonewton. So 317.1 kilonewton. So now we have covered almost all the three methods of the skin friction capacity: alpha method, beta method, and gamma method. So at some other instance, so we did discuss and demonstrate how to utilize alpha method, beta method, and gamma method. So in the exam, there should not be any kind of a confusion to you. Okay. So finally, the ultimate bearing capacity of the group file is nothing but N1 multiplied by N2 multiplied by Qg, that is Qp plus Qs. So N1 number of files in length direction are 3, N2 number of files in width direction are 3. So Qp is calculated as 48.6 and Qs is calculated as 317.1. So the total pile capacity is 3291.3 kN. Now as for the statement of the the previous class discussion, the pile group capacity is nothing but least of either block or individual pile failure mode. So when we have considered the block failure mode, what we got is 5975.2 kilonewton, and when we have considered the individual pile failure mode, we calculated as 3291.3 kilonewton. So least means 3291.3 kilonewton. Now you are asked to calculate the allowable pile group. So Q allowable is nothing but the Q ultimate divided by the factor of safety. So that is 3291.3 divided by 2. So 1646 kilonewton. 1646 kilonewton. So I repeat again, the physical meaning of 1646 and 3291.3 is, so on a pile group, you can allow a load up to 1646 kilonewton safely, permitting the settlements, that is safe or allowable the settlements up to the pile group. And ultimate, that is 3291.3 kilonewton, indicates that you can still apply the load up to magnitude of 3291.3 kilonewton. However, when we reach this much amount of the load, so either the file may fail or the soil may fail, and at that time the settlements are so exhaustive, so the whole pile group may not be functioning at all. It is about to crush. The whole foundation system is about to crush when you reach the ultimate load of 3291.3 kilonewton. While the allowable means, so keeping or constraining the settlement, you can apply the load up to 1646 kilonewton. 1646 kilonewton. So if anybody has any question, you are free to ask me. So before we proceed to the next problem. Any question, please? Mayur Dubey. Any question? Venkat, Mende, Venkatesh.
Sir?
Yeah, so any question? Banu.
Yes, sir. Sir, like we use beta method in individual, but not in group, sir. What's the reason you told us, sir? Can you repeat it?
Oh, acha. See, in case of the individual file, so it is assumed that the adhesion is responsible for the skin friction development. Okay, but in case of the pile group, there is no such development of adhesion, because the soil which is even in between the piles also acting like a pile material. So the whole block is moving. So in that circumstance, it is assumed that no adhesion develops between the pile and the soil. And also try to understand. Say for example, this is the block failure mode. So here the concrete is very small. Suppose if you look at the overall length of the pile group, so this is the length. Out of total LZ, the concrete material is very minimum, because this is only pile diameter, pile diameter, pile diameter. Suppose if you take our sum, so the spacing between two piles is 1.2 meter, and the pile diameter is 0.4 meter. 0.4 meter. That means effectively 1.2 minus 0.4. So that is whole 0.8 meter plus 0.8 meter. So 0.8 and 0.8. So 1.6 meter is only the soil. So this soil and this soil are relatively moving each other. Are you understanding, Banu?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So hoping 1.6 meter of the soil inside the pile group, the soil outside the pile group, they are only relatively moving. So since these are the same material, so we say it is cohesion only. So no need to take the adhesion. But when you talk about the individual pile, so here the relative movement is between the concrete and soil. So that's why we always take the adhesion.
Okay, sir.
Good. Thank you. Good question.
Sir, if the problem is given for alpha method or lambda method, then also we need to calculate skin friction for a group pile like this one, sir.
Yes, exactly. In fact, the previous sum is same thing, na? In the last class, if you recall,
yes, sir.
that is alpha method. Yeah, Mohit Kumar Soni. Chaitanya. Akash. Yeah, any question? Akash, any question?
No, sir.
Ravikant?
Sir, no, sir.
Parab Biswal?
No, sir, no question.
So let me go to next sum. Yeah, just note down this sum. So now, till now we have dealt with how to calculate the pile group capacity, and the next aspect is how to calculate the consolidation settlement of a pile. How to calculate the...
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, in last case, how sir cohesion equals to undrained shear strength divided by 2?
Oh, that is like your UCS test.
Sir, but I think it should be unconfined compression strength divided by 2.
Same thing. Same thing.
No, sir, but the shear strength is already compressive strength divided by 2. Then why we need to divide it again by 2?
No, reverse na. See, when you do the UCS test, what we get is the QU.
Yes, sir.
So how do you calculate the cohesion from the QU?
No, sir. We first find undrained shear strength.
Yeah,
Then
QU.
which is QU by 2.
No. We calculate CU as QU by 2. QU means, suppose if you draw your stress strain curve, whatever the top value you are getting, that is nothing but your QU. And if you draw the Mohr circle, since sigma 3 is 0, and whatever QU that you are getting is nothing but the sigma 1. So if you draw the Mohr circle, so this passes through the origin, and this is QU. And since we don't know anything, draw an horizontal line. So the ordinate is nothing but CU. So this is CU is nothing but half of the circle diameter. Here the circle diameter is QU. So CU is equal to QU by 2.
No, sir, but undrained shear strength is also CU now, sir, for clay.
that is undrained cohesion. QU is undrained shear strength and CU is undrained cohesion.
And sir, what is SU?
It is another way of representing the undrained shear strength of the soil. SU can be taken as QU.
Sir, no sir, but in test we have taken as SU equals to QU by 2.
I do not know. Maybe I will verify it.
Okay.
Usually CU is equal to QU.
Sir, because from the Mohr circle also you can see now we'll get radius of the Mohr circle as SU, shear strength.
No, it is not a shear strength. Oh, no. If you want to determine the shear strength, then that is a different way. You need to take any point. First, you need to draw this one, the tangent to the circle. But here, yeah, as you rightly said, in this case, it could be taken as shear strength. But if you draw more than one number of Mohr circle, then that is a different case.
Sir, then that's why I'm saying means why we need to divide it by 2. We can directly take CU as SU as CU. Because sir, I think in last lab you told like SU equals to C plus some K into 10 phi dash. And for clay phi dash equals to 0, so SU equals to CU.
Suppose if you have any kind of such confusion, you are most welcome to take it. Either way, it is correct. But the CU is equal to SU is valid only for UCS. But SU is valid for any kind of a test. So, for example, when you are conducting the UU test, still you will get undrained shear strength of the soil. But there, the SU is not equal to CU. Because in this case, you will get CU and pi U also. So therefore, you cannot say that the CU is equivalent to SU. So the CU-SU equivalency is valid only for the UCS and no other test. But even if you make such a statement and an assumption, still it is valid. But you just write that. So I'm treating this as a strength obtained from the UCS. Fine.
Okay.
So just everyone, I request you to note down this sum. So this is a pile group. A pile group in clay is shown in figure 11, the below figure. Determine the consolidation settlement of the piles. All clays are normally consolidated. So let us look at first a couple of important things that you need to remember in this kind of a sum. So first, there is a sand layer of thickness 2 meter, but the pile is embedded approximately up to a depth of only 1 meter. Though the thickness of the sand layer is 2 meter, but the piles were embedded in the sand up to a depth of only 1 meter, and above 1 meter there is a pile cap. On top of the pile cap, a superstructure load of 2000 kilonewton is going to come. Now, the total length of the pile is 15 meter. As we can see from this picture, total length of the pile is 15 meter. And the 1 meter is embedded in the sand, and remaining 14 meters is embedded in clay. 14 meters embedded in clay. But the total soil profile comprises of 1, 2, 3, 4 number of layers. So first layer is sand, second layer is clay of 16 meter thickness, third layer is clay again 4 meter thick, fourth layer is clay again of 2 meter thick. 2 meter thick. Okay, so there are 4 number of layers, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first layer is sand 2 meter thick, second layer is clay 16 meter thick, third layer is 4 meter thick clay, fourth layer is clay 2 meter thick. So now our fundamentals of the soil mechanics, we know that layer number 2, 3 and 4 can undergo the consolidation. Now when you look at the picture very closely, for everyone it is clear that the 4 meter thick, that is layer number 3 and layer number 4, whole thickness will undergo the consolidation. It is straightforward. So from the principles of the soil mechanics, so it is understandable that layer number 3 and layer number 4 will undergo the consolidation. However, when you take that layer number 2, which is having a thickness of 16 meter, the whole layer of 16 meter might not be undergoing the consolidation. So therefore, you need to determine out of 16 meter how much amount of the strata is undergoing the consolidation and how much is not. Now, so if you look at the philosophy of the consolidation settlement calculation in clay, we have discussed 3 cases where the pile is embedded relatively in strong strata, that is case 1, and case 2 where partial the weak strata and partial is hard strata, and in case 3 where the entire pile length is embedded in the weak soil strata. So please refer to handouts. So let me show you here. I'm showing again. So these are the 3 cases we have discussed. In case 1, the piles are embedded relatively in hard strata, where if L is the total length of the pile, you need to locate the Pictitis footing approximately at a depth of 2/3 of L from the pile bottom of the pile. In case 2, the piles are embedded such that the soil L1 is weak layer, and we assume that this weak layer doesn't contribute for any frictional coefficient and thereby for the consolidation as well. So therefore L1 is simply ignored. Now only L2 is considered, and out of L2 again we will ignore 2/3 of L2 and we will consider only 1/3 of L2 for the consolidation calculation. Similarly, in case 3, where the entire pile length is embedded in a weak soil layer, but the pile tip is resting on the firm stratum. So therefore, so we will ignore the total length and we will assume the Pictitis footing right at the pile tip. So here in this case, so since there are no weak clay layers, you can assume that the strata 2, that is whole 16 meter, is a strong layer. So whole layer is contributing for the skin friction. So therefore, based on our analogy, if the pile length is 15 meter, then the location of the Pictitis footing can be at a depth of 2/3 of L. So that is 10 meter. So as you can see here, so the Pictitis footing is located at a depth of 10 meter below the pile tip or below the pile cap, and from there onward you need to draw the load distribution profile, assuming the load is getting dispersed in 2 vertical to 1 horizontal manner. Okay. Now, once we identified the location of the Pictitis footing, from this again you need to identify how many number of layers are there. So here there are again 3 number of layers. Now the depth of the layer number 1 is 7 meter. The depth of the layer number 2 is 4 meter, and depth of layer number 3 is 2 meter. Okay, so this is another conclusion. Now, since only 7 meter out of 16 meter is undergoing the consolidation, So from the philosophy of the soil mechanics, you know that the consolidation settlements are calculated at the middle of the each layer. At the middle of the each layer. So for layer number 1, the middle exists at 3.5 meter. At 3.5 meter. So for layer number 2, the depth from the fictitious footing to the middle of the second layer is 7 plus 2, that is 9 meter. 9 meter. And for layer number 3, that is from the location of the fictitious footing to the middle of the layer number 3. So this is 7 plus 4, that is 11, 11 plus 1, 12. So total 12 meter. Total 12 meter. So please look into this sum very carefully. If anything is not clear, please keep on asking the questions. Okay, so don't presume that. So whatever I explained, from that you have understood everything. So keep posing the questions. Keep posing the questions. Now other properties of the different layers has been given. That is clay layer of 2, gamma sat is equal to 18 E0 Cc, and the second clay layer gamma sat E0 Cc has been given. Third clay layer gamma sat E0 Cc has been given. And pile group LG is 3.3 meter, BG is 2.2 meter. LG is 3.3 meter and BG is 2.2 meter. So can I go to the next slide?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, the 2 by 3rd of L is for the entire pile or just the layer which is in the clay? I mean, only 14 meters length is in the clay layer, no sir?
No, it doesn't matter. It is for the entire length.
It is defined like that, sir.
It is. See, what is the meaning? The strata should be hard. That's it. If it is a weak strata, then you should ignore that weak strata. But here sand is relatively hard now.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So any other question? So what is the equation for consolidation settlement calculation? Just recall your soil mechanics. Anybody could tell me what is the equation to calculate the consolidation settlement SE? What is the equation for calculating the consolidation settlement? SE.
Sir, it is delta E divided by 1 plus E into H.
Delta E divided by 1 plus E into H. Okay. Okay. Any other alternative? This is correct only. What is the
Sir,
Delta
H naught CCln final stress upon
Yeah.
initial
So
stress.
the original equation, if we simplify the above equation, it comes out to be Cc by 1 plus E naught into H into log sigma naught dash plus delta sigma dash divided by sigma naught dash. So Cc is compression index. For each layer it is given. E naught is initial void ratio. For each layer it is given. H is thickness of that corresponding layer. So here for the first layer it is 7 meter. For the second layer it is 4 meter. And for third layer it is 3 meter. And sigma naught dash means initial effective overburden pressure, and delta sigma is increase in effective overburden pressure. So let us try to calculate what is sigma naught, what is delta sigma. And in the exam, or for the exam purpose, you must remember this equation, and this is valid for normally consolidated soil only. If you look for over consolidated soil, so the another parameter that comes into the picture, that is free consolidation pressure. So please look into the equation for over consolidated soil also. Now, suppose in this sum, the compression index has been given, but instead of the compression index, if I give the MV, then how shall I calculate the consolidation settlement? Instead of the CC, so if in the exam MV is given, this is also one of the consolidation coefficient only. MV, coefficient of volume.
MV is delta E by 1 plus E naught into del sigma, will it?
Correct. What is the equation? Delta E by
1 plus E naught
1 plus E naught
into delta sigma.
into delta sigma. Okay.
SC is equal to MV into H into delta sigma, sir.
Yeah. Instead of this one, you simply write SC is equals to MV into, so delta sigma into H. Okay. So I repeat everyone. So don't get confused in the exam. Either CC value will be given or MV will be given. Any one will be given, but you should aware these equations for calculation of the consolidation settlement. If CC is given, the SC is equal to CC by 1 plus E naught into H into log sigma naught plus delta sigma by sigma naught. If MV is given, then your SC is equal to MV into delta sigma into H. So the only difference is in both the cases you must calculate delta sigma, the increase in effective overburden pressure because of the pile construction. The additional parameter that there in CC equation is sigma naught, that is initial effective overburden pressure. Okay, so don't ask me in the exam that, sir, you did not discuss in the class about the MV or CC. So these are only the two possibilities. Either I can give in the exam the CC or the MV. Okay, now let us go for the calculations. So the picture is there. Now because the lengths of the piles are 15 meter each, the stress distribution starts at a depth of 10 meter below the top of the pile. This is the philosophy behind this one is the identification of the fictitious footing, that is at a depth of 2/3 of N. At a depth of 2/3 of N. So after deducting 10 from the 15, the remaining pile length is only the 5 meter. Only the 5 meter. Now for normally in the previous slide I have demonstrated that there are 3 clay layers which undergo the consolidation. So this is 1. So this is clay layer 1. So this is layer 1. And this is layer 2. This is layer 2. And this is layer 3. So layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. Layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. The thickness of the layer 1 is 7 meter. The thickness of the layer 2 is 4 meter. The thickness of the layer 3 is 2 meter. Okay. Now, from the consolidation equation, CC is known, H is known, that is 7 meter, E naught is known, that is 0.82, but you do not know what is sigma naught and what is delta sigma. Sigma naught and delta sigma are unknown, so you need to calculate these two. So if you recall your philosophy of the soil mechanics, sigma naught means initial effective overburden pressure at the middle of the clay layer 1. At the middle of the clay layer 1 from the top surface. From the top surface. So can anybody able to tell me what is sigma naught dash here?
Sir, initial overburden stress.
Yeah.
Effective overburden.
How do you calculate? Can you tell the numerals from this picture?
Sir, we can calculate like first for sand layer and then for clay, adding that from
Yeah,
clay.
so it is
16.2 into 2
plus, and for clay layer?
18 minus 9.8 into.
Yes, just try to understand the groundwater table is at a depth of 2 meters from the ground surface. So therefore 18 minus 10 into
Sir, 12.5.
12.5. So everyone, so please try to understand. So there should not be any confusion or mistake in the calculation. Sigma naught means initial effective overburden pressure at the middle of the layer number 1. Initial means before construction of the pile group, and delta sigma means increase in effective overburden pressure after construction of the pile.
Sir, we don't have to take this means we have to take whole 2 centimeter, not the 1 centimeter length of the clay sand layer.
1 centimeter to 1 meter 2 meter means
Sir, because it is some means in place of pile only 1 meter sand is there now.
Oh no, but that's what I'm saying now. Sigma naught means initial effective overburden pressure before the construction of the pile foundation. Before the construction of the pile foundation. Delta sigma is after the construction of the pile foundation. Sigma naught is before construction of the pile group. Delta sigma is after construction of the pile group. Okay. Now the next aspect is how do you calculate the delta sigma? So just recall your shallow foundation. So the delta sigma can be calculated by load divided by the area. So that is load is given as 2000 kilonewton, and you need to calculate what is the width and the length at the middle of the layer 1. So the total thickness of the layer 1 is 7 meter. So 7 divided by 2, that is 3.5 meter. 3.5 meter. So therefore at the middle of the layer number 1, the total area is so the LG and BG, they are different. So LG and BG, they are given already in the sum. Please look into the previous slide. LG is given as 3.3 plus Z1 is 3.5 and BG is given as 2.2 and Z1 is 3.5. So 2000 divided by LG plus Z1 into BG plus Z1. So this is nothing but your area only. So load divided by the area. So the delta sigma, that is increase in effective stress at the middle of the layer number 1 is 51.6 kilonewton per square meter. 51.6 kilonewton per square meter. So this is LG plus 3.5. LG plus 3.5. And similarly in the width direction it is different. In the width direction it is BG plus 3.5. BG plus 3.5. Okay. So this is how delta sigma will be calculated. Now sigma naught dash is calculated, delta sigma is calculated, CC is given, H is known, E naught is known. So substitute everything. So sigma naught is the initial effective overburden pressure before the construction of the pile foundation. Before the construction of the pile foundation. So this is sigma naught. That is 2 into 16.2 plus 12.5 into 18 minus 9.81. That is below the water table. So sigma naught is 134.8 kilonewton per square meter. Now consolidation settlement is nothing but Cc into H. Cc is given as 0.3 for clay layer 1, and thickness of the layer 1 is 7 meter divided by 1 plus E naught. E naught is 0.82 into log sigma naught is 134. Delta sigma is 51.6 divided by sigma naught. So 134.8. So substitute everything and calculate for the consolidation settlement. So that comes out to be 162.4 meter. 162.4 meter. Now repeat for layer number 2 and layer number 3. Repeat for layer number 2 and layer number 3. So if anybody has any question, so in understanding how to calculate the sigma naught and delta sigma for consolidation settlement, please raise and ask me. So Kriti Malu, any question? Kriti Malu, Kshitiz Agarwal, Vijay Simha Reddy, Mamraj Shukla, Kshitiz, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
Good.
Okay. Mamraj Shukla, so here I have given for layer number 2. So this is layer number 2. So the thickness of the layer number 2 is 4 meter. So the equation for consolidation settlement is Cc2 into H2 by 1 plus E naught 2 into log sigma naught 2 plus delta sigma 2 by sigma naught 2. So this is the middle of the layer number 2, and this is sigma naught 2, sigma naught dash 2. So this is nothing but 2 into 16.2, that is layer number 1, plus 16 minus 16, sorry, 16 minus 8, sorry, yeah, 18 minus 9.81 into 16 plus the third layer number 3, 18.9 minus 9.81 into 4 by 2, that is 2 meter. Then similarly, to calculate the increase in effective overburden pressure, so this is load upon area. Load is 2000 kilonewton, and LZ plus BZ. LZ is 3.3, and depth from the location of the PTTS to the middle of the layer number 2 is 9 meter. That is 7 plus 2, 9 meter. 7 plus 2, 7 plus 4 by 2, 9 meter. So in the width direction, that is 2.2 plus 9. So 2000 divided by LZ plus Z2 into BZ plus Z2. So it comes out to be 14.52 kilonewton per square meter. So once sigma naught and delta sigma have been calculated for layer number 2, substitute in the above equation, and here Cc2 is given as 0.2 and E naught is given as 0.7, and sigma naught is calculated as 181.62, and delta sigma is calculated as 14.5. So total 15.7 millimeter. 15.7 millimeter. So the consolidation settlement at the middle of the layer number 2 is 15.7 millimeter. 15.7 millimeter. Okay, so there is nothing great. Similarly, it is repeated for the clay layer number 3. So the clay layer 3. So the sigma naught 3 at layer number 3. So this is sigma naught dash 3. Sigma naught dash 3. So up to middle of the layer number 2 is 181.62. This is sigma naught dash 2. Sigma naught dash 2. And the remaining is this one. That is 2 into 18.9 minus 9.81 plus the third layer. Middle means 2 by 1 meter. So 19 minus 18.1. 19 minus 18.1 into 1. So total comes out to be 208.99 kilonewton per square meter. And similarly, delta sigma 3 is load by area. So the area at the middle of the layer number 3 is, so this is, first you need to calculate the total depth. So from the location of the Pictius footing. So here it is 7 plus 4, 7 plus 4 plus, this is 2 by 1, that is 1. So 7 plus 4, 11, 11 plus 1, 12. So total 12 meter. So the up to the middle of the clay layer 3 from the Pictius footing is 12 meter. 12 meter. So LG is 3.3. So 3.3 plus 12 multiplied by BG plus 12, that is 2.2 plus 12. So what you get is 9.2 kilonewton per square meter. And we have calculated sigma naught 3 and we have calculated delta sigma 3. And for this layer, already CC has been given. CC is 0.25 and E naught is 0.75. So sigma naught 3 is calculated as 208.99, and delta sigma is calculated as 9.2. So substitute and calculate for the consolidation settlement in layer number 3. So that comes out to be 5.4 millimeter. So overall the total settlement is layer 1 162.4, layer 2 15.7 and layer 3 5.4. So total 183.5 millimeter. 183.5 millimeter. So any questions? Any questions, please? So go to the another sum for practice purpose. So these also on calculation of the consolidation settlement of the pile group. So just note down. So everything has been given here. So a pile group whose geometry is 2.75 by 2.75. This is a square pile group. So the soil profile has been given. So it again comprises of 6 meter thick sand layer, 18 meter thick normally consolidated clay, overlain on 5 meter thick normally consolidated clay, which is overlain on 3 meter thick normally consolidated clay. So at the bottom of the layer number 4, so rock strata exists. So you are asked to calculate. You are asked to calculate the pile group consolidation settlement. Consolidation settlement.
Sir,
Yeah.
here they have taken like 2 by third of the 15 only. No?
Yeah. So that's what I'm coming to that point only.
Okay.
So just try to compare the previous problem with this problem. In the previous problem, the sand is of only 1 meter, so therefore we did not ignore. But here, the pile is passing hoping 6 meter length through the sand. So therefore, it doesn't make any sense if you account for the whole sand layer for consolidation calculation. Because see, it will become 15 plus 6. So that is 21 meter. So 2/3 of 21, how much it will come? So 2/3 of 21, so approximately 14 meter. So that means so 6
As
plus
per 21, it should be 24 now.
15 plus 6 na?
Okay, sir.
So 21, so 14 meter. So hoping only partial length exists in clay. So since the means majority of the load is getting transmitted only fraction of the clay layer, So in such circumstances where a significant length of the pile passes through the sand, then you can ignore that hard strata in the calculation of the consolidation settlement. There is another reason also. See here, when you compare the pile transfer, relatively the friction in the sand is higher than the clay. At least see, these are the real life problems. This is how the geotechnical engineering is quite unique as compared with any of the subjects. Okay. So, and all these decisions comes when you try to understand the soil only, and if you have enough knowledge on the soil mechanics and foundation engineering, which otherwise you could never ever able to design any good foundation system. Okay, and my entire motive of demonstrating and explaining elaborately everything is tomorrow when you join any company. So these are the kind of designs that you need to exercise. If you follow simply the mundane practice of the any design as per the IS codes, or if you follow the software, so it doesn't give you any good result. And moreover, you need to face an experienced engineer when you try to demonstrate your capability. So the question comes is, he will ask the questions like this only. So when the frictional capacity of the sand is much higher than the frictional capacity of the clay, or vice versa, it may be, then why should we consider that particular layer? Okay, the question arises. So in those circumstances where the length of the pile is of the significant length depth embedded in a strong strata, you can ignore that particular strata for calculation of the consolidation supplement. Okay. So this is one analogy that you can give to your senior engineers. And other way around also, the another way of accounting for this one is when the sand strata is of significant depth, this sand strata undergoes the elastic settlement. So here the elastic settlements are of significant, not like the previous case where only 1 meter is there. The elastic settlements are ignorable because majority of the pile length is only in the clay strata. But here 6 meter is a significant depth, and this 6 meter can show the considerable amount of the elastic settlement. So therefore this is accounted for in the form of a elastic settlement, and the remaining clay layer is accounted for the consolidation settlement. So this is the second analogy. Okay, so these are the two things that you can demonstrate. So when you try to design the pile group, so in real life. So is it clear now?
No, sir, but in case of sand, if there is clay with another property, then we have to take from top only.
Clay with another property
Means different sigma and different gamma and E naught and CP.
No, only depth matters. No soil property matters.
Okay.
Only depth matters because this depth governs your elastic settlement. So you are accounting for the sand layer by calculating the elastic settlement. And so let's consider clay layer for consolidation settlement. So please note down accordingly.
And sir, how to consider, say, sir, when the sand layer is at the middle, means like first 18 meter clay layer is there, then 6 meter.
Oh, in that case, then you have to take 2/3 only.
Okay, sir. Then we have to consider only for clay, means up to what depth the clay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, it's a very good question. Now I think everybody can able to understand. So his question is, I'm just modifying this sum only. His question is, suppose this is again clay, and this is sand. So this is sand, and this is clay. So this is clay. So in this case, so what shall I do it? So the answer is very simple. You have to take 2/3 from the top. Okay, you have to take 2/3 from the top. But my advice is, what you do is you try to calculate for both the cases, whichever is giving the highest settlement, you take that as a reference. In a sense, first you take the case 1 where the 2/3 is from the top. 2/3 is from the top. Calculate the elastic settlement for the remaining layers. In a second way, you ignore this entire layer. Consider only the 2/3 of this 15, the 2/3 of the clay layer, and calculate the consolidation settlement. So whichever is giving a reasonable value, so that we can consider for, or that we can consider as a reference value. Okay, so everything is given here, how to calculate, how to identify the precipitous footing. The pile which is embedded in the second layer of normally consolidated clay is 15 meter. So 2/3 of 15 is 10. So that means you need to identify the location of precipitous footing at a depth of 10 meter from the bottom of the sand layer. So the AB reference line indicates the location of the fictitious footing. And from this, you try to identify the layer number 1, layer number 2, and layer number 3. So at middle of these layers, you are asked to calculate the consolidation settlement. So I have clearly indicated Z1 depth from location of fictitious footing to middle of the layer number 1, Z2 depth from fictitious footing to the middle of the layer number 2, Z3 depth from the fictitious footing to the middle of the clay layer number 3. So what is the value of the Z1 here? Anybody? What is the value of the Z1, Z2 and Z3?
So Z1 should be 4.
Z1 should be 4. So 18 minus 4. Z1 is 4, Z2. Z1 is 4, Z2. Anyone? Z2.
10.5, sir.
7.5.
10.5.
10.5. 4 plus 2.5. How come? So this is
8 plus 2.5, sir.
8 is 8 plus 2.5. maybe.
Sorry. 8 plus 2.5. Great. So 10.5. So this is 10.5 and Z3.
16.5.
18.5.
18.
18.5. So 10.5 plus 2.5, 12.5. No, not 18. Na? Z2 is
16, sir.
10.5.
16.5 only, sir.
16.5. So 10.5 plus
14.5, no, sir.
So 10.5 plus 2.5. This 13. 13 plus 1.5. 14.5.
14.5.
Yes, sir. 14.
Z1 is 4. Z2 is 10.5. Z3 is 14.5. Okay. So now everything is clear. So the next step is calculate sigma 1. What is sigma 1? At middle of the clay layer number 1. Sigma dash 1 and sigma dash 2 and sigma dash 3. Yeah, majority of the people are simply watching the movie. So nobody is participating for the tutorial of foundation engineering. Anyone? What is the value of sigma naught dash 1 at middle of the layer number 1?
Sir, 15.72 into 3.
Yeah.
Plus.
So 15.72 into 3 plus
18.55 minus 9.81 into 3.
18.55 minus 9.81 into 3 plus
19.18 minus 9.81 into
19.18 minus 9.81 into
14.
14. 14. 14. Yeah,
14.
very good. Similarly, delta sigma dash 1 is nothing but 1335 divided by, since this is a square file, I can take 2.75 plus Z1 is 4. Z1 is 4 whole square. So this is delta sigma. Is it all right? Correct? Delta sigma.
Yes, sir.
So now calculate the settlement at the middle of the clay layer number 1. So everything is known. This is the answer. So layer 1, Z1 is 4 meter, Z2 is 10.5 meter, Z3 is 14.5 meter. You can refer to these slides, how it has been calculated. Next step is equation for calculating the consolidation settlement, that is SC is equals to CC into H by 1 plus E naught into log sigma naught plus delta sigma by sigma naught. So for layer number 1, sigma naught is nothing but, so 15.72 into 3, this is above the water table, plus 18.55 minus 9 or 10 doesn't matter into 3, that is below the water table, plus 19.18 minus 10 into 16. This is I think 14.5, not 16.5. Is this 16 or 14? This is 14.5. So please correct yourself. So then you will get the delta sigma naught dash. So then for layer number 2,
Sir, it is only 14 now.
only 14.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. This is 14. So please correct yourself. So then for layer number 2, sigma naught dash is equal to layer number 1. Again, this value may be wrong because you need to consider the 14 plus 19.18 minus 10 into 1.5 plus 18.08 minus 10 into 2.5. So this is how we need to calculate sigma naught dash for layer number 2. And for layer 3, so you don't need to calculate again. So take sigma naught dash 2 plus the for the remaining depth 18.08 minus 10 into 2.5 plus 19.5 minus 10 into 1.5. So 292.7. So here I have shown how to calculate the initial effective overburden pressure before construction of the pile group for layer 1, layer 2 and layer 3 at middle of the each layer. At middle of the each layer. Then the next step is how to calculate the delta sigma. Delta sigma. So for layer number 1, so load by area, so Q is given as 1335 by LZ plus Z1 into BZ plus Z1. So 2.75 plus 4, 2.75 plus 4. So 29.3 kilonewton per square meter. So similarly for layer number 2, so 1335 divided by 2.75 plus Z2 is 10.5 multiplied by 2.75 plus 10.5. So 7.6 kilonewton per square meter. And for layer number 3, so 1335 divided by the Z3 up to layer number 3 is 14.5. So 1335 divided by 2.75 plus 14.5 into 2.75 plus 14.5. So 4.5 kilonewton per square meter. Now there are some thumb rules how to verify that. So my calculations are correct. So let us look at the previous slide and this slide. Here, as you go deeper and deeper, the value of sigma naught dash should increase. As you go deeper, the initial effective overburden stress before construction of the pile group at the middle of the each layer, it increases with increase in depth. You can see 224 for layer 1, it became 258 for layer 2, it became 292 for layer 3. While a complete reverse should happen for delta sigma. A complete reverse should happen for delta sigma. Because, try to understand. See, for the soil, if you draw the variation of sigma naught, so this is the variation of sigma naught dash. But if you draw the variation of delta sigma, so this is the variation of the delta sigma. So sigma naught dash should continuously increase with increase in depth, whereas delta sigma should decrease with increase in depth. So the same thing is evidenced from here. So delta sigma per layer is 29.3, for layer 2 it is reduced to 7.6, for layer 3 it is further reduced to 4.5. Okay, so these are some thumb rules which you must remember to ascertain whether or not your calculations are correct. Once everything is known, simply substitute in the equation for layer 1, SC is equal to CC into H by 1 plus E naught log sigma. Substitute all the values. Then what you get consolidation settlement for layer 1 is 189, and for layer 2 is 9.76, and for layer 3 it is 3.04. So you may get slightly lower values than whatever has been shown in this slide, because there was a small calculation in the calculation of sigma naught dash for layer 1. So I have taken 16.5 instead of the 14. So you may get less values of the consolidation settlement. So the total consolidation settlement is 189.5 plus 9.76 of second layer plus 3.04 of third layer. So total comes out to be 202.3 millimeter. So 202.3 millimeter. So this is how you need to calculate the consolidation settlement. So I will stop it here. If you wish to ask any question, you are most welcome to do so.